champ is here.
That's right.
3, 2, 1. Let's go. I gave me a talent, so let me flaunt the gift.
Broadcasting live from the Property Cashflow Studios, this is the Property Cashflow Experience, the world's leading podcast on building cash flow in property, real estate, fast. Hosted by the Cashflow King and your favorite mentor, the possibility of living the life you desire starts here.
Damn.
Let's get ready to rumble!
All right, welcome to the show. Today, we are going to be talking about how to replace your job with a property income. I'm Neil McCoy-Ward. Got my wingman, Dwayne Squires, in the studio.
Yes.
Yeah, are you ready for this one?
I am indeed. I think this is going to be a really good podcast, actually. I think I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing our stories, giving some insights. Let's
I think
get into
that's probably the way we'll start. I'll share my story of how I replaced my job, and you can do the same.
Let's do it.
Because we get a lot of questions. And by the way, if you have questions that you want to email into us, just send them into the show. Right, go on the website, propertycashflowacademy.com, and you can send in your questions if you like, or just if you're watching on the YouTube, that's probably the best way. Drop your questions underneath the video, and that's how we're going to answer the most. We'll take those questions and we'll add them onto future podcasts.
Yeah.
So with that said, I will start and I'll just share a little bit about my story and how I got into property and replaced my income. So I actually bought my first house in 2005. I don't know, did I told you that before? So 2005, bought my first house. And I thought I was going to make me a property millionaire. But it didn't. It made me about £100 a month of cash flow. That was it. Right? So I thought I was going to be a millionaire from it, and actually it just wasn't true.
You had £100 more in your back pocket, didn't you?
Well, I did. But then we had the property crash.
Okay.
Yeah, in 2008. So actually, I was actually underwater. So I'd lost more than the property. Do you get what I mean here?
Yeah, it was negative
equity. So even though I was making £100, it didn't make any difference because I had like a massive deficit. Yeah? So that's how actually... I bought my first one, but during that time, I'd actually bought loads more. So I just went crazy. Mortgage Express, thank you. Love you guys. I know you're gone now. 100% mortgages. I just went crazy.
Yeah.
All the estate agents were like, oh, here he comes. Here's that guy. Here's that dumb punter. I don't know what they called me. Here's that stupid kid. Right. Okay. Oh, Mr. Ward, how are you? Yes, come in. Get a drink. Would you like a slice of cake? Oh, yeah, sure. Great. Come on. Roll out the red carpet for this guy.
Yeah.
Because they knew I'd just buy anything. Oh, Mr. Ward, we've got a fantastic opportunity for you today. This 2-bedroom property in need of renovation, 100,000. Oh, great. Is that a good price? Oh, it's an amazing price. Right. Yeah. Okay. I'll buy it then.
What, so you think they inflate the price even higher just for you? Get some more commissions from it?
They were, because prices were just going crazy. And they were just... And people like me who were using the 100% mortgages, they knew. They were like, right, bump it up $5,000, $10,000, he'll buy it.
Yeah, it's more money in their back pocket, isn't it?
Yeah, so I didn't have a good start with my property investing career. But you know what? I did training courses. I had a mentor. Yeah, my mentor didn't teach me this stuff. I did these training courses. They didn't teach me all this stuff. They were like, oh yeah, use these 100% mortgages. It doesn't matter what you pay. It's still worth it. Okay. Terrible advice. Absolute terrible advice. And I still speak to this guy today, and I tell him that advice he gave me was absolute bollocks.
What does he say?
It was terrible.
I want to know what he says.
He says, yeah, but you can't account for recessions. And I say, what do you mean you can't account for recessions? The PE ratio was really high. This was really high. That was scaled up. Everything indicated that we were at a bubble and we were at a peak. So it's obvious to me, just like now, 2020, just like now, we're in this sort of bubble, this peak. It's not going to keep growing exponentially. But yeah, that was the advice that I got. So I just went crazy with it. And I thought I was going to make a fortune and become this big property millionaire. But that didn't really happen. So to cut a long story short, I did different jobs. I was in the army for 10 years, and I did a marketing job and a sales job. But really the sales job is where I found my success. And this is one of the common things that people say to me. And they say, this is difficult for me because I'm in a job where I'm earning £50,000-60,000 a year. I don't just, it's hard to leave and replace that with property income. And I completely agree, because let's say you're earning 60,000, that's 5,000 a month, right? That it's not easy and it's not difficult to replace that income with property. It's neither. It's just a case of mathematics, right? So how would I replace my job? And again, I did this. So I remember I was earning so much money in this sales role because it was commission only, and I was the top salesperson.
Yeah.
Built myself up to be the top salesperson. I was earning so much money that I thought I'll never leave this, but it was destroying my soul, this job. It was killing me. I was, like I said in the last podcast, I was eating at McDonald's, KFC, Pizza Hut, right? So this great physique that I had as a soldier suddenly became a blob of fat, right? For about a year. Because I was just, they were like, Neil, we've got you another appointment. It's a 1.5 hour drive away. Go for it. This is a big one. You might make, £1,000 commission if you can sell this. So I'd be driving to this company or this, if it's like we dealt with a lot of wealthy people.
Yeah.
So I might drive to their estate or their farmhouse and do a presentation for the couple, right? For me, I was more motivated by the money. And so I was making big commissions. Sometimes I would sell 3 systems in a day. So you can imagine, sometimes I'd make over £1,000 in a day, right, from these commissions. One day I did £2,000 in a day, right? And I'm working 6 days a week. And I was really focused on it. Really focused. I wanted to earn the money. I wanted to just keep generating this money. And it was an amazing lifestyle.
Yeah.
I told you some of the ridiculous holidays that me and my wife went on, right? And we just blew some of that money. That's when we weren't as smart financially as we are now.
Okay.
But then what happened was I started, looking into strategies that weren't very well known. So this came about because I heard about this company called Northwood. You heard of them? Estate agent, letting agent?
Yeah.
And they were doing something called guaranteed rent. And because I had a property, I spoke to them about my property. And I thought, that is a really good idea. I wonder if this exists. I started looking into it and I heard about this lady, I think her name's Taiwo or something, Nigerian lady, who'd come up with this concept, rent to rent. And it wasn't that long ago. It was only about 2013 this really came about. And I was like, that's a good idea. And then there was another guy, Francis, that did it. Right, and then there was Justin who did it. So I did a little bit of training with Justin. But that was it. No one else was doing rent to rent. You really had 2 or 3 people that were doing it. And it was in its first year of infancy. So I really took that strategy and just exploded it. And I, like I told you yesterday, I took on 5 rent to rents in my first month. So I did all 4 in the first month, filled them like that super fast because no one was doing it. And then in the next month, on the first day, I got my 5th property going, right? So I was just growing it. And every month I was growing it, 1, 2, 3 houses. I was just growing it. And to the point where it was making a lot of money within the first year, a lot of houses. But then it's about refining it. So it was like, okay, I've got to refine this now. But what I did once, I don't know exactly how many houses it was, but it was 2014, 2015 time. I actually then said, right, I'm making now £4,000 a month. So that was the profit. I don't know how many months in. It might have only been, 2 or 3 months in. And I was like, right, I can now leave this sales job because I know I can grow what I'm doing and I can take on serviced accommodations. I can do the deal packaging, lease options. I was already sourcing houses that wouldn't work for rent to rent, so I can do them for lease options. So that was really how I did it. I didn't just, again, terrible advice I hear all the time from property trainers and these gurus. Oh yeah, go to your boss and give them your notice. Tell them, I quit, burn your bridges, so there's no way back. Again, I don't know what these guys are smoking. Right? Burn your bridges so there's no way back. Oh yeah, that's great advice. How do you think people end up on the street? It's because they're taking advice from people like that. I'm just quitting my job, burning my bridges, and I'm going to go full-time into property. Yeah, but you've got to bear in mind that mindset, if you are that person that thinks I'm going to quit my job, go straight in, it's based on unrealistic facts that person on that stage has told you is possible. When a lot of time they overinflate it. You can be a millionaire, property millionaire this year. Yes, you, this year, come to my free 1-day event. I'm going to show you how to become a millionaire this year. And that's it. Nothing's going to be hidden. And you go to that 1-day free event and they're like, right, let me tell you my personal story. Right, we did on the other podcast, sob story. And then you're like, okay, well, that's 2 hours gone. Right, now let's take a 1 hour break. Okay, it's like 11 o'clock now, right? And then they come back, right, now I want you all to high five, tell your neighbor, what did you learn? Write some notes. Oh my goodness, it's lunchtime. When are we learning all these secrets? Right, now we've got a 2-hour lunch break. Oh, okay.
2-hour lunch break.
Okay, this is a long lunch break.
Yeah.
Yeah, giving you plenty of time if you want to go out and get your sandwich.
Yeah.
And you're back, you're like, oh my goodness, it's 2 o'clock. Doesn't this end at 5 o'clock? Okay, now, here we go. We're going to tell you, and then they do like 30 minutes of content.
Yeah.
An hour of content, 30 minutes. And you're like, right, okay. Now, I'm bringing on all my friends who are going to sell you into their £10,000 property training guru advanced blueprint. It was usually something like that sort of name. Right? And this is what happens. So this is why I'm having this advice and caveat, because people then say, right, that guy's saying I can make £1 million this year from property. Why am I doing this job earning however much an hour? Forget this, I'm quitting to do property. And then they have the harsh realization that, oh, no, they just said that so I could buy a course from them. That's why I'm very honest with all my trainings and all my courses. I say to people right up front, this is what is normal. This is what is like at the top end, someone who's really successful and they come in and they get this. These are some of the people who aren't successful and these are the reasons they're not successful. And if you notice any of these reasons within yourself, i.e. you're lazy, right? Just to be honest, you can't be bothered to get a train for half an hour. You can't be bothered to drive to this appointment. Or you're scared if the landlord or someone is, says no to you. You're too scared to go into. If you've got any of these things, there's no point even getting started, unless you're going to overcome those things. You get started knowing you have those weaknesses, and you're like, right, I'm going to overcome them by doing it. Right, I'm just going to do it to overcome it. And that's the difference.
I think that's good insight actually, because there's two things I got from that actually was quitting your job too early. Yeah. And then mentality. I think that's really important, having the right mentality. And rather than quitting your job straight away and doing it, because you haven't changed your psychology. You haven't changed from quote unquote being an employee to a business owner and managing the risks as well as the rewards for doing that as well. But if I move, is there any more you want to share, or are you happy for me to?
No, that's good. That's good.
Okay, cool. So my story is a bit different. I'll start when I was at university, actually. So university, actually before that. So my backstory, when I was around 15, 16, did my GCSEs, got pretty good grades, like A's, A stars.
You were an A-star student?
Yeah.
What? I did not know that.
I actually studied business studies and I came top 5 in the whole UK.
Wow.
Both GCSE and A levels.
Goodness
me.
So
now, but I was like to my mum, I don't want to go to university. I don't want to. I want to go out there and work. Yeah. I want to see what I can do in this wide world with loads of opportunities. So I did a year out in trading. So I was in a small trading company. There was around 15 or 20 people trading different stocks and shares, etc. And it was a real good insight, really good insight. I realized the ups, downs, and do you know what it was happening around the time of the stock market crisis. So you'll see, like, you had a desk and it was like 2 screens per trader. And maybe because it was a slower market, you'll see points go up, down, slowly up, slowly down. When the stock market was going, Lehman Brothers collapsed.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see, you'll see a massive investor come in. The whole market's literally dropped. You can't even get the bid button in. It's just crazy. So then you had traders like effing and blinding, walking out the door, people being fired left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And the trader said to me, "Look, you can still trade." And because I had lost my money, but then I'd rebuilt it. So they give you a certain portion of capital, and they said, "Look, try and see what you can do." So I started $5,000, lost it, but then I lost a lot of it. Then I recovered it, made profit, and then but it was because it was happening around the time of recession. The other traders who were actually very good said, "Look, have something to fall back on. Go to university, and then if anything happens, at least you've got a qualification."
Yeah, that's
so
good
went
advice.
to really good advice. And when I went to university, so studied like economics, business, etc. Then I took a year out. In year 3, went to Rolls-Royce.
Yeah.
And at Rolls-Royce, did pretty well. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's because you went from a world of trading, something that you know nothing about really. It's just it's a product made up of trying to represent something. Whilst at Rolls-Royce, you're actually taking, or in a company like Rolls-Royce, you're working with physical material that then gets converted into a product and then is sold to a customer that's got high value. You're actually giving value to the economy. So it was interesting seeing how this big, massive company works. And a lot of it was people skills as well as processes and operations. So cut a long story short, I think it was... So I started my internship around August, and it was around December time. I saw these, like, do you know, previously there was loads of advertisement, not online, it was on tubes. And it was like, earn like X amount of money.
Yeah.
And I went to one of these 3 days, and it was actually around like 100 people in the room. And at that time, it's the first one I've been to. Yeah. And then they have people go to the front, do a pitch and say, look, run to the back before it all goes. You've only got 5 places left. Only 5 places left. And then I was like, luckily I was sat next to...
Was this a property event?
It was a mix. So it had some people teaching about online trading. And I was like, no, you're not going to teach me any more than what I've learned in the actual trenches. Yeah. And you had some people doing like online business, and you had one person talking about property. So there was so when property came up, I went to the back.
Because there's always 5 left. There's only 5 spaces left. It's always 5 places or 7.
Yeah,
7 spaces.
Always the same thing, isn't it? So I went to the back. I put my name down for property, and luckily I was making good money for someone who was doing an internship. Did the course, and I was like, so I'd spent nearly £2,000 on 2 days, and as part of the course, they gave you a video CD playlist. Yeah. It was poor quality.
Yeah, when it was meant to be, I got one of those as well. Yeah.
When it was poor quality. Do you know when it's like, it's meant to be fully coloured and all you can see is black and white?
Yeah, yeah. And then the CD skips. I had that as well, yeah.
But funny enough, spent £2,000 for those 2 days plus a CD set. I learnt more on a CD set than I learnt on the 2 days.
Goodness me, 2,000 for 2 days. That's a lot of money. But I've made a few contacts there. They told me about a few other training companies. Yeah. Then I went to a few days. But then one thing I actually started doing in that year was property sourcing. So because if I go back a bit, like my family were like, they're ones that are like, before they even look to encourage you and even support you financially, they'd be like, well, show us what you're made of. Show us that you can do something. So I was like, I want to prove to you guys that I can do it. So within the first 2 weeks, I sourced my first deal. And I was like, oh, this is easy. It was like £1,000. Literally on Gumtree. It was a deal on Gumtree. And then I was like, wow, this is easy money. And then from there, I built up. But there's a lot of challenges here and there along the way. But fast forward, and I then met you, Neil. And you turned the business from like a roller coaster and without systems, and actually gave it more vision and more structure. And that's when things exploded. Yeah, that's when it exploded a lot. Yeah, you did
property
great.
Sourcing.
Actually, you were one of my top mentoring clients at the time with the success you had. Yeah, where it was you took off, and now you still, and actually, Dwayne still got that business separate to our ventures. So that's in the north of the country. It's going from strength to strength, isn't it? You just did your biggest year ever last year.
Yeah. So, for those that don't think you can make 6 figures from property sourcing, talk to us.
Yeah,
talk to us.
Yeah. Do you know why a lot of people don't think you can?
Yeah, go on.
It's because the majority of people who do sourcing are one-man bands or one-lady bands, right? And a lot of people try it and they're on their own, and then they haven't got a network or anything, and they're not successful. Or they find a deal and they're like, yes, but then they can't sell the deal. Yeah. Right? They haven't got the database. You've got to have a little bit of everything. Definitely. So they give up. But they don't just go out silently. They go out with a bang. Facebook, forums, I'm going to tell everyone this doesn't work. Yeah. Deal sourcing doesn't work. I found a great deal and I couldn't sell it. What do you mean it doesn't work? You just contradicted yourself.
Exactly.
You found a great deal.
Exactly. I think it's a great technique. So I know.
Let's give people some advice then. So in terms of them, so let's say they're on a maybe not a huge salary, but let's say it's a £30,000 salary, right?
That's a good start.
Yeah. What would your advice be for someone to replace that income in the next 12 months? So 30,000, although it sounds like a lot, I don't feel that's a lot to replace in property income, to be honest. What's that broken down? Is it 2,500 a month? I think it is.
Gross.
Yeah.
But after taxes, you might get like 17,
that's a good point.
18. If you've got student finance, it might be lower than that.
Yeah, that's a good point. So let's say they're getting 18 net thousand.
And I think
that's 1,500 a month net.
Yeah, I think that's very powerful to do because people think, let me earn gross, but actually when you take off taxes, you're only making less than that.
Yeah.
And then, so my advice with anyone within 12 months. So my thought on this was Rolls Royce. I actually saw Rolls Royce as a great opportunity. Yeah. So this is the reason why I didn't look to quit Rolls Royce as soon as I did, because I was young, hadn't really worked in a large organisation, and it was a great experience. So if I was looking to quit in 12 months, I'd first of all ask myself, do I need to? Right? Do I need to? Because you could be working a job that you love, but you just want to get some extra income on the side, which is more than feasible.
I 100% agree with you on that. Definitely.
Now, if you're looking to quit for one reason or the other, I think first of all, look at what your skill set is. What are you comfortable doing? And then based upon what you're comfortable doing, then pick a strategy. So, if you're very good at talking to people and piecing information together, deal sourcing could be really great. Yeah. If you're very, very good at organizational skills, serviced accommodation could be great. Yeah. If you don't mind, if you're very handy or you like designing or just generally you don't mind a bit of everything, rent to rent could be quite good. Yeah. So my advice, if I was to replace my income in 12 months, first of all, it goes back to one of the episodes, make sure you've got sufficient capital on the side. Yeah. But if you've got limited capital, do deal sourcing. If you've got a bit of capital, get into doing either service accommodation or rent to rent, and the deals that you aren't able to convert, or you just doesn't stack up for you, look to sell them on because the numbers could work for another investor. Yeah, and actually on that, if we look at that 30K we talked about, that's only 1,500 net after taxes and national insurance and all that. Sounds about right, because that's how much I earned as a new graduate at Rolls Royce. Yeah, so there you go. So if you look at that 1,500, the same tax rules don't apply when you have a property business. Yeah. Right? So you won't end up with, only 1,500 net, because you won't have to pay PAYE because it's corporation tax. Right? So you pay your corporation tax, you'll pay national insurance on a salary. But here's what I would do, and this is what we actually do. We take a small salary from the companies, right? So if someone, let's just apply it to someone listening. Take out the minimum amount, so maybe that's £1,000 a month, right? Yeah. And then that's within your allowance, your personal allowance, where you don't pay any tax on that. There's no PAYE to pay on that amount. So there might be some small national insurance, but maybe not even your 12% national insurance, right? So then you take dividends from the company. Correct. You've got a dividend allowance. Currently it's about £2,000. So that's tax-free. So already you've got £14,000 out just there with no tax at all. Then I would probably look at taking some dividends at the lower rate. So basic rate. Yeah, basic rate. What's it? It's about 7.5% at the minute. Yeah. Right, so you're not paying 20, 40% here. Exactly. 7.5% on your dividends at the start. Then they jump to about 32.5%. But again, you're still under 40%. Right, so I would look at it like this. How can I offset by having that business, not paying PAYE, or if I am paying it through a salary, which again is an expense against the business. So it's going to bring the corporation tax level down. So there's so many things. I think when you use that example now, it's really good actually, because if you're making 15,000, that equates to 18,000 or 1,500. So 1,500 a month. That equates to 18,000 per year. That's deal sourcing, SA, rent to rent. You've got your choice. You do it. You replace that easy. Deal sourcing, it will take you. Let's say if you're being very cautious, 5 deals, 6 deals. So that's 1 every 2 months. Serviced accommodation, rent. Just pick your choice. Yeah, you can do that. That is not difficult. If it was, I'm an honest person. I'm very honest about and open about all these strategies. If I didn't think that was possible in 12 months, I would say so. And if you you might be looking to replace your income, but you just don't have time because maybe like you're on the road, you're selling. You used to be a salesman.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're a doctor, or maybe you're a surgeon, or you're just in one of these jobs where literally you haven't got the time to build your business. Well, the opportunity still exists.
Yeah.
You can work with a property sourcing company to find you a deal that stacks up.
Yeah.
You can joint venture with someone else, or and turn it into a business as well. There's opportunities out there for you. Just don't be limited by what time you have or the capital you have.
Yeah, and I'd say if you are looking to leave your job, you want to look 6 months out at least. So spend let's say 3 or 4 of those months getting yourself trained.
Yes,
because it's not easy to do all 3 strategies like rent to rent, service accommodation, deal packaging, lease options like that. Because your brain needs time to internalize the information.
Yeah,
I've had people do my trainings and they say, I've had to watch your course 3 times because I just couldn't take it all in. And every time I watch it, more goes into my head. Right? So it might take you just 3 months just to get all this knowledge internalized where you start looking at deals, analyzing, and you get that experience level behind you. Mm-hmm. So once you've got that, but again, some people have already got a background, so it takes them a month. They're like, watch the course this week, go over it again the week after, and then they're off and running straight away. But for other people, it might take them a little bit longer. Yeah. So I definitely look 6 months out. That'll give people enough time to get started, get a couple of deals on the go. And remember, if we're talking about £1,500 here net, that's 2 rent-to-rent deals at $750 a month.
Exactly.
Easy. That's easy. It's not difficult. 1,500 net is 1 serviced accommodation deal. Yeah. Yeah. That's deal sourcing. That's not even a quarter of a deal, right? Exactly. With deal sourcing. So it's how to replace your job with property income within 12 months covered, I think. Yeah, I agree. I think just a caveat though, just to add to it, someone might be listening and think, yeah, but it's you make it sound so good. Yeah, there's a bit of hard work involved. Yeah. There's a bit of time. But if you're in a job, you're working a minimum of 37.5 hours every week, minimum, without overtime. So, if you try a strategy and it doesn't work after 1 hour or 10 hours, look, you're working in a job 37.5 hours every week. Just like with a job, like when we were at Rolls Royce, they say, well, you know what? It used to take 6 months, actually, till someone's effective. It's the same with any of the strategies. Give yourself the sufficient time to internalize it, get your mind right, and actually consistently apply hard work week in, week out, and you'll be surprised. Yeah. But you've got to invest ahead of the curve, though. Like, I have to add that as well. A lot of people just do all the free, because I always talk about get as much free training as possible. Read books, watch videos, listen to podcasts. But at the same time, there's only so much free. Yes. Right, you can't get free legal documents. You can't get a free rent-to-rent management contract that's legally binding. You can't get a free serviced accommodation contract, a lease option contract. Just in our deal packaging, we've probably got like 20 contracts in there. Exactly. Right, these things are not free. So at some point, you do have to invest capital into this and get yourself trained. Yeah. Now, do you need to go off and get a mentor and spend tens of thousands of pounds? No, I don't think you do. I think you get yourself started with training courses, so that's where you're spending money. And then if you think, right, I'm having difficulties with these areas, I need to get some expert advice, then get a mentoring session. Yeah. But it doesn't mean you need to have a 1-year mentoring program, right? Yeah. Like some of these programs, £20,000 for 1 year. What? How much? Did you just say £20,000 for a year? Okay, that seems a lot. No, this is a great price. It's normally $49,999, 50,000, but it's less than half price today. I think good takeaway, which is whatever training you invest in, it should be seen as like a property. What's your return on investment within 12 months? If you're spending £20,000 on a training, how quickly are you going to get that money back? Can you get that return on investment within 1 year? Yeah, good. Brilliant. All right, well, I think that's it for today's episode. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you very much. Yeah. Hopefully you got a lot of golden nuggets from that. As Neil said at the start, and I'll repeat at the end, any questions you have, post it. None is too silly or too short or too long. Post it and we'll look to answer in the future. So if you're watching on YouTube, drop the questions below on the feed, please. Yes. And we'll take care of those. All right. See you on the next episode.